Welcome to True Life Lessons. Today we explore a profound story about patience, resilience, and the true meaning of trusting the process. In the quiet corners of a small town called Sundapur, life moved at the slow and steady rhythm of nature's seasons. Here lived Atome, a young man with big dreams but a heavy heart, struggling to make his mark on the land. Every day he watched his neighbors celebrate their bountiful harvests, while his own fields remained barren, mocking his tireless hard work. He felt a deep sense of failure, wondering why the earth refused to bless him despite his dedication and daily sweat. The weight of disappointment grew heavier with each setting sun, pushing him to the brink of abandoning his ancestors' farming legacy. He looked at his tools with resentment, believing that perhaps he was simply not destined to be a successful farmer here. Seeking answers before quitting forever, Atome decided to visit Vishwanath, a wise sage known for seeing what others often missed. The sage lived in harmony with nature, his home a sanctuary of peace located high above the noise of daily struggles. Atome found the old man sitting in deep meditation, radiating a calmness that immediately soothed the young farmer's turbulent, anxious mind. He poured out his heart, describing his dry fields, his neighbor's success, and the overwhelming feeling that he was a failure. The sage listened without judgment, his eyes holding the depth of an ocean, understanding the storm raging inside the young farmer. With a gentle smile, Vishwanath pointed towards the distant forest and asked Atome if he knew the story of the mango tree. He spoke of the most majestic mango tree in the forest, a giant that provided shade and fruit for generations. But this tree, the sage explained, did not start as a giant. Its journey began in darkness, hidden from the world. For a whole year, the seed lay buried in the soil, showing absolutely no signs of life on the surface above. Villagers mocked the empty patch of earth, convinced that the seed was a dud and that the planting was a waste. But underneath the silence, a miracle was happening. The seed was not sleeping. It was working harder than anyone could see. It was driving its roots deep into the ground, anchoring itself against future storms and seeking the purest water sources below. While weeds grew fast and withered just as quickly, the mango tree was building a foundation to last for a lifetime. Only after a full year of hidden preparation did a tiny green sprout finally break through the surface of the soil. It looked small to the ignorant eye, but it was supported by a massive, complex root system hidden beneath the ground. The sage looked at Atome and said, "True growth is often invisible. You cannot judge the journey by the immediate outcome. Because it took the time to root itself deeply, no storm could topple it, and no drought could dry it out. It took 10 long years for the first fruits to appear. Patience was not just waiting, it was an active process. By the 15th year, it became the most productive tree in the region, feeding the village when other crops had failed. Atome stared at his hands, realizing he had been demanding fruit without ever taking the time to strengthen his own roots. But the sage added a warning. Trusting the process does not mean blindly repeating the same mistakes over and over again. He explained that waiting for a harvest without understanding the soil is not patience, it is merely a form of foolishness. Atome realized he had been so focused on his disappointment that he forgot to learn, adapt, and truly listen to nature. The sage gave him new seeds and advised him to study the land, to understand its needs before asking for rewards. With a heart full of gratitude and a mind clear of doubt, Atome descended the hill, ready to begin his journey anew. He did not rush to plant immediately. Instead, he spent weeks studying the soil, testing its quality, and learning new methods. He treated his farm like a laboratory, understanding that success requires knowledge and adaptation, not just blind hope and hard labor. He changed his approach entirely, enriching the earth with organic matter and building a smarter irrigation system to save water. Neighbors whispered and watched with skepticism, but Atome no longer cared about their opinions. He was busy building his strong roots. Seasons changed, and while others harvested, Atome continued to nurture the soil, trusting that his time would come in the future. The first year ended with no profit, but the ground beneath his feet had transformed from dusty sand to rich earth. When he finally planted his seeds, they were welcomed by a nutrient-rich environment, ready to support vigorous and healthy growth. The crops emerged stronger than ever before, their leaves a deep, vibrant green that signaled health and vitality from the start. When a summer storm swept through the valley, his neighbor's shallow crops suffered, but Atome's plants stood firm against the wind. He stood in the rain, smiling. He had learned that the visible victory is always supported by the invisible preparation below. Year after year, his farm grew not just in size, but in quality, becoming a model of sustainable and smart agriculture. By the 5th year, the transformation was complete. His land was a paradise of abundance, outperforming every other farm in town. Atome was no longer the failed farmer. He became a mentor, teaching others that success is a science, not magic. He saw himself in the eyes of young farmers who wanted quick results, and he gently guided them toward patience. He would point to the distant hills and retell the story of the mango tree, passing on the sage's timeless wisdom. Success, he learned, is not a sprint to the finish line, but a marathon that tests your character and endurance. Every failure he had faced was merely a lesson that helped him drive his roots deeper into the fabric of life. He documented his journey, ensuring that the knowledge of adaptation and patience would not be lost to the winds of time. The entire village of Sundapur flourished, proving that one person's growth can eventually uplift an entire community of struggling people. Walking through his fields at sunset, Atome felt a peace that no amount of quick money or instant success could buy. The boy who once wanted to quit was now a man who understood that the obstacle is actually the way forward. He touched the rough bark of his trees, grateful for the years of struggle that had forced him to become better. Trusting the process means showing up every day, doing the work, and believing in the growth you cannot yet see. It means understanding that before you can reach for the sky, you must first be willing to embrace the dark dirt. Somewhere on the hill, the old sage smiled, knowing that another sturdy tree had been added to the forest of humanity. Atome passed a seed to his son, teaching him that the greatest things in life are worth waiting and working for. As the sun set over the golden fields, they stood together, ready to face whatever challenges the next season might bring. Life will always have winters and droughts, but those who build deep roots will always find a way to bloom again. Your journey is unique. Do not compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Your time will surely come. Keep climbing, keep learning, and keep believing. The view from the top is only beautiful because of the difficult climb. Embrace every failure as a teacher. Let it guide you to better methods, stronger resolve, and a deeper understanding of life. To all the dreamers struggling today, you are not failing. You are simply in the process of growing your roots. Like the sprout breaking through concrete, your persistence will eventually shatter the obstacles that seem impossible to overcome right now. So take a deep breath, look at your challenges and smile, for they are the making of your future success. The darkest nights often produce the brightest stars. Keep your faith alive even when the world around you seems dark. Remember these 3 pillars: patience to wait, learning to understand, and adaptation to survive. These are the keys to mastery. Your potential is as vast as the ocean, but it requires the discipline of a river to reach its destination. In the end, you will look back and realize that the struggle was the most beautiful part of the story. Let your life be like these golden fields, grounded, abundant, and swaying with grace through the winds of change. Every small action you take today creates ripples that will shape your tomorrow. Make sure those actions count for good. Keep the fire of hope burning within you. It is the fuel that will carry you through the coldest winters. Trust the process, trust yourself, and trust that the sun will always rise again to shine on your hard work. Thank you for watching True Life Lessons. Remember to nurture your roots, trust your journey, and never give up on growth.